Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast, Humans of Earth, the podcast for change. And today we are going to be talking about Bolivia, and I have a special guest here. And yeah, we are going to be talking about his story and how is it to live or grow up in Bolivia. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. First of all, thank you so much, Martina, for the opportunity of being here. It's really nice to be in the radio on a podcast, that it's free.
Mm.
Like when you can just be free in yourself and just there's a lot of realness here, so it's gonna be an interesting episode today. And I'm really happy to talk about Bolivia. My name is Gabo. I am a singer-songwriter. I come from Bolivia. For the ones who don't know, Bolivia comes from South America. It's the heart of South America. So I'm really happy to tell you my story and how everything come out in the way my life in Bolivia and just getting to know new experiences here.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks
Really
to you.
amazing. So I was just wondering, why did you came here to Denmark first of all?
Okay, so I came to Denmark because I was trying to apply for some studies outside my country on songwriting, and mostly I do pop music, and pop music is not so listened in Bolivia and some places in South America. We have like the more reggaeton, for the ones who are listening, like reggaeton is like the most like common genre of music, in South America. And like pop music is not so heard enough. So, coming to Denmark will be an opportunity, for me to just study and be in a different environment and being a true professional on the music industry. So I'm really excited about it. Yes.
Yes. And how was it growing up? Did you always had this passion for music, or how did you manifest it maybe at home?
So it was in the passion of music started a long time ago. It's a, I would say, crazy in a way story because it started when I was a child.
Yes.
And it was just when I was, I think, I'm not gonna say the exact age because I don't remember the exact age, but I think it was like I was 15 or 14 years old.
Yes.
And it was when, I was bullied in school in Bolivia. And I was bullied for many, many years. And there was like a lot of people who were bullying me because like I wasn't so confident, Like I wouldn't have done that, this long time before, because I was really shy and, I was like a shy guy and people just didn't like that for me. And they would just, my classmates were, bullying me. And the story of how music was born in me is really interesting because all my family, they know that I've been, I didn't like music at the beginning when I was a child. I was like, no music, don't like it,
Wow.
And then it was an experience that the people, like my classmates who were bullying me, they subscribed me into a talent show from school.
That's so cool.
It was a way of me to, to be in a moment where there was pressure on myself, and I would be like, they thought I was gonna cry on the stage because we had like this talent show where other schools came into the auditorium. They were just listening, to the artists, that were there. So this, bullies, they were like, okay, we're gonna subscribe Gabo into this talent show. And
So they sent you in.
Yeah, they sent me in, and I was like so shy, and my family didn't know they were bullying me. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna tell my family because I don't want to pass through pain because of me, And then I was like, when the teacher, I remember I was in one room. I was like in the class of science. I think I remember so much. I think it was the class of science, and the music teacher came into the class and she was like, okay, I'm gonna call out the names of the people who are gonna be part of the talent show.
Yes.
And it was like Juanito Perez, like all the names, you and Mateo Gabriel, because I'm Mateo Gabriel, that's why I'm Gabo. So Mateo Gabriel, you're also in the talent show. And everybody was like shocked at the class.
And you knew at that time, or you didn't know it?
I didn't know it.
So that's how you found out?
Yeah. And I was like, and I knew they subscribed me to a talent show because like the bullies were in my class and they were just laughing it out. They were like,
Yes,
we did it. And they knew I was going to say anything.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh my God, what should I do? I don't want to tell my family that I'm being bullied, I don't want them to pass through this pain, because when somebody gets bullied, like some people just, families get really sad and depressed about, the child. So I was like, I called my dad, like he's like a sound engineer, like he did some studies in sound engineering.
Yes.
And I was like, hey dad, I want to look for a singing teacher. And he was like, what? Because like nobody was expecting me. I was like really shy, and
Yes.
you know, a lot of people didn't
Mm.
expected me, to go to music. And my dad was like, "Are you sure you want to go to singing classes? Why?"
Yeah.
And I was like, because I subscribe to a talent show."
How long did you had to like from the moment you found out
To
until the final like performance?
Oh, it was like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. And I had to prepare one song, and I didn't know anything. Like I was really shy. I
Yeah.
got too nervous on the stage, and I was like, which song should I choose? And I was
Yes.
like thinking, and with this teacher, it was like really nice teacher. Like she would just come into my house and was really like
Mhm.
nice to me, and yeah, she was some there are, there are some teachers that you could just totally get comfortable with, and she was like
Mhm.
one of those teachers.
Oh, that's very
And
nice.
I was like, oh my god, like which song should I choose? And she said, why don't you choose Imagine by John Lennon and
Oh,
sang
that's a
that song?
nice. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, maybe because that describes me, like my passion inside, because I didn't want to other students to feel bullied and stuff, I just
Yes.
like
Yes.
always had that message of unity.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, let's practice. And we practice, of course, but obviously, since every starter in music or whatever, like you get like first you start with a terrible voice, like your voice is not so good, in a way. And I
Mm.
was just singing, imagine all the people, and like not so good. I was like, okay, like
But you did it. You
I did
went on
it.
the stage and you sang.
I sang in the stage, and everybody was shocked.
That's
And
so
then that
good.
it's so magical. You see, like the power of art, and there's power of the universe that gives you, what you need to do in life.
Mhm.
It's so amazing. I remember the moment I sang in that stage, I didn't feel nervous, and I was really shy as when I was little. Like I was really shy.
Yes.
And then I sang Imagine. Everybody was like shocked by it.
Mhm.
And then I started singing again, like in school, like in some like events that we're doing. The teachers got really excited because they were like, "Oh, you're not being shy now. Like, you
Ah,
come on, you can
yes.
do it." And yeah, and that's how music was in me, and it was like such an
Yeah.
experience, and sounds crazy.
It's amazing.
Sounds many people would be like, oh, maybe he just invented that story, but no, like it's totally real,
Why
like
would you?
yeah. But it's totally real. Like
Yes.
it's amazing how
Mhm.
sometimes the universe calls you to do something, and you just need to do it, and
Mhm.
helps you a lot. Music
It's
heals, and
yeah.
art heals. You know that.
It's true. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I know. As a yeah, I do art therapy, so I totally believe you. But I really love how I feel like the bullies were trying to kind of put you down, but instead of you took this challenge and made it an opportunity for you, and it's amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to say also, like last year,
Mm-hmm.
I went to the school I was where they bullied me
Yes.
in the city of La Paz in Bolivia, and I met my classmates like
Yes.
from long time because I moved to another city, and then I wasn't in the same school for like
Mm-hmm.
6 years. And I went to the city, and I went for a graduation of a friend, and they were
Yes.
there, and they just say, "I'm so sorry I bullied you, and I'm so happy that what happened, it helped you heal from everything you
Mm-hmm.
had, and we're so happy for you, and we're rooting for you." And it was just an amazing moment, and
Oh, I'm so happy.
yeah, it was like magical. I was like,
That's
wow.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so nice. Yeah. And what do you do now with music?
What do I do now? I do music based. My music is more based in social injustice,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like I made that decision because in Bolivia,
Yeah.
we have a lot of injustice, in most cities and most countries. Sorry, in South America, we have a lot of injustice about the healthcare system. As I
Mm.
compare to many countries in Europe, we don't have a free healthcare system.
Yeah.
So it's just like some experiences. Like I had a surgery a few
Yeah.
years ago. I don't know how you translate it into English. I cannot find the word, but in Spanish it's called like peritonitis. So peritonitis is like when your appendix explodes.
Ah, yes. I think
Yeah,
it's just called
yeah,
appendix. Yeah, yeah,
appendix.
yeah.
Yeah, but it exploded, and
Yes.
exploded from nowhere, and like they didn't need to cut all my like stomach in half, and then
Yes.
just take my organs and stuff. And it was, that was my first experience talking about healthcare in
Yeah.
Bolivia. My first experience with healthcare. My family had to pay a lot of money because I went first to a private clinic, and in the private
Yeah.
clinics, if you have something, if you go there, doesn't matter what you have to wait almost one day.
Oh my
So imagine there are people just dying in the waiting room
God. That's
in the private
crazy.
clinics. So if you had like money, or if you like were about to find some money, to pay a private
Mm-hmm.
clinic, like you can do it, and obviously you couldn't die that day. But imagine like how much injustice is there, and it was hard for my family and for us to pay, my surgery, because an emergency
Yeah.
surgery. And that's like I would say my first experience with healthcare, and also something that inspired me to talk about like social injustice into my music,
Yeah,
because it's not like the fault of people, like if they are born in a place they don't have
it's true.
money, or the family didn't have money,
Mm.
what's their fault? They just want to have a better life. They just want to have the
Yeah.
same as others, and that's, it's not fair in a way, for also for people who discriminate, people who look different, or people who just come to
Mm-hmm.
different backgrounds. They don't have so much money. So yeah, that was my inspiration.
Wow, that's crazy. And we complain in Denmark about the dentist being expensive. Yeah. No, but so you had to wait one day until they made the surgery.
They
Or
told me I had to wait one day,
yeah.
but in the public clinic,
It's like a
the
public hospital, yeah.
public hospital.
Mm.
And but then I was like, no, it can't happen, because the doctor that made my
Yeah,
exams, he was like, if you
you will
don't,
die, yeah.
yeah, if you don't get the surgery today at night, you're gonna die,
Yeah,
because that liquid can go to your heart.
I know, yeah.
So if you go to a public hospital, you're gonna die there waiting.
But that's insane.
Yeah, and then the doctor said, I have some contacts. We can do it today. You're gonna pay like a little bit less of money, but still you're gonna pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
So be prepared. And my family just was like, okay,
Yeah, there is no other option.
other option.
Mm.
And we did it. And it was also hard, to pay that debt, like with hospital. And a lot of people in Bolivia didn't have access to healthcare, and for free, and in many countries in South America. And that's because of corruption of governments. They waste money in things that are not necessarily.
Is it also
Yeah.
because of the privatization of the different?
Yeah.
I don't know how many there is. Like, for example, if you compare private clinics to public hospitals, like if there is everything privatized, then you have to pay. But
Yeah, you have to pay like more. Like in Bolivia, we have like we had like change of government 3 years ago,
mm.
and what they did is like making everything national, like also all the
Public.
business nationals and public
Yeah.
to the people in Bolivia, but they didn't do anything with hospitals and with clinics and with healthcare.
So all the other things are now public, but the healthcare system
Yeah,
is
the
not.
healthcare is not. Education is public, for example. Everybody can have like an education and go somewhere
Mm-hmm.
and have like education for free, but obviously the quality is not the same. It should be the same, obviously, but it's not,
Yeah.
If you go to the schools that they pay a lot of money, monthly, like of course you can get like, for example, English.
Yes.
I think I was privileged to go into a bilingual school
Mm.
in Bolivia, because not many people know how to speak English.
Wow.
And I know that a lot of people, who come from different backgrounds, that have like less money and less privilege.
Mm-hmm.
It might be really hard for them now also to just learn English, because they don't get to
Yeah.
know those languages, and the concept of the world is really small. They just think it's only Bolivia and South America, and that's why the vision of the country is also like, oh, only South America,
Mm-hmm.
not outside, like being successful outside other places. And yeah.
But I think the same is also in Europe. Like I was never taught about, for example, the Asian countries at all, or Africa.
Never
No.
at school or nothing.
No, I mean they mention it, but it's kind of like, yeah, there is China in Asia, and Russia, and then you have some countries in Africa, and then you have USA, obviously, in America, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, South America. Have you heard about it in school or not so much?
No,
No, not at all.
no. Actually, I still have, if I'm quite honest, the countries very, very mixed. Like where is Peru, where is Brazil, Bolivia? I have no clue.
It is very mixed. There's a lot of
It's
culture.
very, yeah, I
going
just
on.
know like where is Mexico, Canada, USA, and that's it. Like I
And-
was really like, I know that maybe we went through, like we flipped through one
Yeah, and
page in
that's-
the book, and that's it.
That's also something I noticed. Like in countries that are more privileged than others,
Mm.
they just don't learn so much. They don't teach so much about like other places and the lifestyles.
Mm.
But in Bolivia, we're like learning about Europe a lot, about the revolutions, about everything that was happening. But it was also impossible to imagine, for people to come here, for example. Also, like I feel privileged in a
Yes.
way to be able to be here, because I have family here. Like my aunt, she's living here for 5 years.
Yes.
So just like I have the privilege of being here. But what I'm gonna do with this privilege I have compared to the people, like most people in Bolivia, have to be to do it in a way responsible way, you know.
And I think it's also amazing. That's why I'm also super grateful you're here and you can talk today on this podcast, because for me it's also like you can find information about different Latin American countries, but one kind of, how would you say it, maybe prejudice, or like how you kind of, what is the word, now I forgot. Okay, like maybe this prejudice, or how we kind of describe the countries, is like criminality, corruption, and all these things. And we know there's a lot of bad things happening and a lot of injustices. But also I feel like similarly to what your maybe friends or people you know from Bolivia don't come here because they don't really imagine the lifestyle or culture, is very similar. For example, for me, you know, I'm like, yeah, I would love to go to Latin American countries. And then for example, Bea, she wants to go, I think, to Brazil or some other countries.
Oh, nice.
And then everyone's like, oh, but it's dangerous, and you and a girl alone. And it's like, yeah, but that's exactly what is kind of stopping us from connecting and understanding the realities.
Exactly.
And
yeah, as you say, that creates also stereotypes from the people that comes from a
yes.
place. Like I see also like there's a lot of discrimination like going on, like, to be honest, in Europe to people from the Middle East.
Yes.
And that's just
especially
because
Denmark.
yeah,
Yes.
I seen that, and I heard people, you know, saying that, and I think that's not fair.
Yeah.
Because like, why would be your fault, for example, if you are come from a place that you don't have so much injustice, and then you go to another new place and find opportunities, and you're just trying to reach for your dreams, and then people are gonna be like, oh, you're from here, so you're dangerous, you know.
But
like,
also, like, if it was only like, oh, I go there to use opportunity, but most of the people that are coming to Europe are refugees that are literally running for their life. They are not trying to come here to take our jobs or our schools or something. They are coming here to be able to even have a life and live safely. And I think everyone should have the right. I mean, it is a basic human right to have life.
yeah,
So
and be
why
free.
we don't
Yeah.
consider that?
Yeah, that's also something I was thinking about the other day. Like while sleeping, I was like, oh, like I
Mm.
was so mad in bed before sleeping. I was like, why does racism and discrimination exist? Like, it's ruining everything.
I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but how I feel like it's probably some kind of, for us, instinct that we still have from the animal brain that
Yeah.
kind of says, oh, you're a threat, so I should not help you.
Or maybe it also it comes like from people like a lot of South Americans. I know that when they gone to Europe or to United States, they're like they don't feel they belong.
Yeah.
Because also like the minds of the people, like for example in Bolivia, like not everybody of course, but some people are like, oh no, like you're European, so you might be better than me and stuff, you know. So there's a lot,
Yeah.
like a lot of mentality, you know, like if you're from Europe or you're from outside, you're better than me. But I don't think there's one that is better than the other one. I think we're all different and equal in some ways. And like also like get this mentality of people like I know also from here that came from South America, and they're like, oh no, that like people look at me weird because I'm from different color and stuff, you know. But I think that doesn't need to matter, because just we're all human beings and we come from different backgrounds.
Yeah, and I think it's also in this way very important to respect each other, because you can be right, I can be right, you can be wrong, I can also be wrong. And that's why I think it's really important to respect one another.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
It is. It's really funny how we went, you know, from everything going to discrimination and racism, and it's. I think, you know, for the ones who are listening this, I think it's really important to talk about these topics at home also.
Yeah.
Because to see, you know, I'm not really thank you, Martina, you know, that you are talking about this stuff, because it's really important to talk about other backgrounds.
Yeah.
To open the mind about like what other people are suffering, and just accepting people, you know, from other backgrounds into other places. I know there might be people who just come from like different places and they do bad things in Denmark or in other countries, but it's not okay to generalize it, you know, in a way.
Yeah. I think that's very dangerous to generalize. But I think also, like, when you talk about accepting people, what I would like to maybe share with the listeners or whoever wants to, it's also, you don't have to straight away go and visit refugee center or go and now you have to travel to Bolivia to meet the people. No, really just look around in your community and try to meet the people and be open to meet the other person. And of course, again, not to generalize, not everyone maybe will be welcoming or want to talk with you, but from my personal experience, 99% of the people that I have met were very open and amazing and welcoming and very generous. And I think that's what we should do as human beings. So that's kind of maybe my message.
Cool. Yeah, we're human beings. We're all like come from the same place. Doesn't matter which religion, doesn't matter which race. We are all one. Yes.
Yeah. And I would maybe like to ask you if you know a bit about some, maybe in Bolivia or even here in Europe if you met, but some maybe movements that can support to create the justice in your country.
There's a lot of movements going on. Also, like we were talking, because with Martina we met also a long time ago in some workshops, and we also did a workshop together on like artists for social justice, right? I think that was the name of the workshop. Am I right? Yeah, with the name of the workshop?
I think so, yeah.
And so we went to this workshop and we were talking about like injustice, about freedom. And you know what really, what really interests me was that we talk about like how politics also manage like these social movements, and they do it just for fashion or something,
Yeah.
But it's really important, I think, to talk about that if we really want to make a difference, we need to do it because we really want it, and not because we do it for fashion. Because many people do it for fashion and take advantage. Companies take advantage of it for fashion. Politics like takes advantage of fashion. But going to the main topic, we're gonna talk to the question to answer your question.
Yeah.
Like in Bolivia, there's this movement happening now with this activist called María Galindo. María Galindo, she is a feminist activist, and she created like this safe space for women that is called Mujeres Creando, like women building.
I think I heard about it.
You heard about it?
Maybe, yeah. I think actually maybe we'll learn about it in school. Because,
nice.
I mean, my university is very alternative, and I think it's amazing because we learned throughout this year about different countries and continents around the whole world.
That's nice to hear that you heard about it.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
It's not common also when people tell me about Bolivia and stuff. I was like, oh, wow, nice that you heard about it. But it's not common for people outside to just listen about it.
But anyway, I will put it also in the description so everyone can look it up and...
Yeah, look it out. Bolivia, Mujeres Creando, Bolivia, Women Building or Women Movement, and María Galindo. Galindo is spelled like Galindo. So yeah, you can search it out, and it's nice. So these women in Bolivia had a lot of women that disappear because of human trafficking. I don't get I don't know the final like results and the statistics of it, but it's a lot of women. Like mostly a month will be like I think 10 minimum.
Wow,
I think I'm not sure, but it's like almost like a lot of women that they disappear because of human trafficking, or also like men killing women. A lot of that happens, and that's because of the society, and that's because of that we call machismo. So machismo we call when it's a society about men, that men are like the only ones that could do stuff,
Oh, like the patriarchy.
Yeah, patriarchy. Yeah, exactly. They're like men are the only one that could do the hardest jobs.
Yes.
But we have a lot of that, and a lot of women support it, and they're like, no, but men, it's a job for men, because like men, they do the hard job. They're the ones that do it successful. Yeah. We women, no, like a lot of women say that, like I heard about also friends saying like, no, we women, we cannot do anything. And also that's a problem in society. So we have a lot of this human trafficking happening, and the government is not doing anything. It's weird, they're not doing anything. There may be something under the table, we don't know. But this activist María Galindo, like she's now like on fire, and people just on the internet in Bolivia are just waking up, and that's what's needed. A little bit of feeling uncomfortable, because like she uses like this, her half of her head is like shaved in a way, and then the other part, like in the other half of the hair, like she has like long hair, and the other part is like shaved, and she just wants to call attention, and people go, oh no, she's an attention seeker, but it's not. She just wants, the attention of people so they could get, I don't know, comfortable or uncomfortable, so they could just listen to the message. And she's been going to these like public institutions where women go, and they just it take long time, for them to just, for example, if your boyfriend, just an example, punches you in the face, and you go to these public institutions for women and ask, I don't know, for some exams and permissions and help, it takes long time. It takes 1 year. And mostly like these men, they're still in their houses, not like nothing happened, and the process is like, and the people who don't get money, and the women who don't get money and suffer from that, they don't get justice at all. And the families of the women that are killed, they don't get justice at all.
It's crazy.
So it's just this Maria Galindo, this woman, like she's been recording and going into institutions, and they were like, no, the guards were like, no, you cannot enter, lady.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't care, I'm gonna enter because I have the right and the human rights.
Yes.
And she just recorded and went with some like families of one girl that was killed by a man, by her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And he was just going inside and recording, with her team, and like, look, this is why they're not doing anything, because there's sort of corruption. And she went to these institutions, and people were supposed to work like for 9 hours or more, but they were not there. They were having lunch, having breakfast, and not going. And the salary is really high compared to a lot of people in Bolivia, and they are not doing the work.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have this activism. Like that's the main movement now in Bolivia, like the most popular one. But I hope people like wake up on that and just see that they could make a difference.
And I think also we could share this movement here, so more people can know.
How is it here, like in the feminist movement? Any idea?
In Denmark. Feminism. I mean, there is a lot of movement, especially here in Aarhus, because there is a lot of activists, I would say. And for me, it's also kind of new thing, because in my country, it's still kind of, maybe now it's getting better, but it's still kind of a taboo to be an activist, because then people associate you with being a feminist, which is a bad thing, because then you don't want to have men, you don't want to have kids, and so it's still kind of prejudices. But that's in my country. Here, I feel like it's much better. I didn't meet anyone who would, even if you would say I'm a feminist, I didn't meet with bad feedback. Maybe I'm lucky, I don't know. But I think people are here very open. But I guess it's also the history of the country, because in they had hippies, a lot of movements. In my country, we had communism. You couldn't just say what you want, what you think.
And it's still like that now?
No. It's communism finished.
Long time ago.
30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But it still has an impact, of course. Like even my friends, I know, so many people I know, they are in their 20s, like 20 years old, 21, 22, and they have kids, they have family, they're settling down, have a job, and I'm like, I'm 24 and I'm not planning any of that yet. So
it's different, right? Like the cultural shock also.
Yes.
Also, like I feel like if I don't know if I'm talking too much about like Bolivia and stuff.
No.
Yeah.
That's go ahead.
So in Bolivia, like I noticed like a lot of young people, like also my friends and everyone, like that's not like work so much, to get a life on their own, and their family is so much involved in their lives.
Yeah.
And just here in Denmark was a cultural shock to me, to see like young people just free and doing whatever they want and not being like, in a sense, I'm not saying that all parents are like that, but manipulated by their parents in a way. Like, I'm gonna give you an apartment, but if you study this,
Oh wow, I didn't. But I know, like what I've met here with Denmark, it's kind of how to say it. Maybe struggle with the opportunities, like because you have all the opportunities you want. You can do anything you want, but the problem is now you have to make the right choice.
And that's the main stress. I don't know if you say the word stress. That's the main stress of people. Yeah, like I met these friends. I had some friends of them are like they're gonna start some studies, and they were like, I'm really nervous. Like I don't know, I'm gonna decide and stuff because I know like I have privilege, because it's free here. The education is for free in universities, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And compared to Bolivia, like you need to go into a public university, you need to be really good because a lot of people apply to it, or paying a private university, you need to work hard, And like as I was saying, like I was shocked by how people here are so independent. Young people like us like so
Mm-hmm.
independent, and I love that. It's like
Yeah.
amazing to see freedom and independency, and also like coming to these places we're recording the podcast and stuff,
Ah,
and
that's
like
true. Yeah. We also don't have
yeah, like
that
there's
in.
you don't have that also.
No.
We also don't have like these spaces where you can just record and have like the whole support and the trust that we're gonna take
Mm.
care of the equipment and stuff. You know, like
Yeah, I think that's also another thing, like this kind of trust. Maybe that's also comes from trusting the government also and the system and then the people,
mm,
because we also don't have that so much in my country. But I feel like here it's like you just leave your child in this how do you call it, carrito, in
yeah, I
front
can
of
read.
like a coffee shop where you're having breakfast, and no one will take the child, or like nothing will happen, or your bike, no one will steal it. But in yeah,
But
like
in our countries, it's like something would happen.
yeah, like even if you would go to a coffee shop and then you have your laptop open on the table, I wouldn't leave it in my country like that. If I would go on a toilet. But here I'm like, well, who would steal it? Who would go into my computer? No one.
Yeah, they say no one goes. Also, when there's this library here for the ones that are listening in Aarhus, I'm not from Aarhus. Like
Yeah.
there's this library called the Duckin, Duckin, right? Duckin,
Yeah, doc in. Yeah.
Duckin.
Yeah.
And the first time I went, I was like, I was like so hungry. I need to
Yeah.
go for lunch, and I went to street food, and I was like, should I leave my things? And then it was just like, because the cultural shock, Bolivia, I would
Yes.
never leave my things. I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave, and the universe will know what will happen. If they steal my things, they will steal it. And I took like 1 hour, and I ate a street food, and then came back, and nothing happened.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
brave.
and I was like, oh my god, yeah, and
That's
it
crazy.
no, it's
Wow.
real.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, it's real. What they say, it's real.
Yeah.
That's also like difference of culture also. But you
Yeah.
know what? I was thinking about like why in some countries like people are more educated than in other countries. So I think,
Mm.
in my opinion, that it's because like what they teach at school.
Mm.
Because if they just give evaluating in school, like in some countries, like, oh no, if you had the best grades, that defines you as a person.
Yeah.
So if you have like, for example, the ranking over 100, you have like 99, 98,
Yes.
you're gonna be successful, and the families are gonna
Mm.
support you, and I think that's really wrong, because a lot
Yeah.
of people, they just do it not because they wanna really, for real, like from their heart, they wanna do something in their life that they really want. It's just they wanna show. They
Yeah.
wanna show the family. They wanna show their friends, like, oh look, I'm really intelligent,
Mm.
and that's how corruption also like borns in that way.
Mm.
Because like people, for example, imagine like a child that's
Mm.
been learning like everything, he needs to be the best, like a competitive in a way, have the best grades and compare himself to their students,
Yeah.
and then just do it things without passion.
Mm-hmm.
If he becomes president one day of one country,
Oi.
then he could be yeah, wait,
God
yeah,
help
yeah,
us.
yeah. He could be like, okay, I think I'm gonna take that money because nobody notices, because I'm so intelligent that nobody will
Yeah.
notice.
Mm.
So it's like this
I think
brainwashing.
it's more like not about nobody will notice, but more about the interest. And if your
Yeah,
interest is not in the people and the country and the development of this, then of course
yeah, and
it's not gonna work.
if the interest is only like in, you being president and stuff,
Mm.
and in yourself,
Mm. I think that's one thing that kind of is a bit sad about education, that it drives us to this competition and being the best in the class and so on. But you should rather focus on what you want, what is your passion, what you're good at, and you want to do in life, and the people around you. Because I've realized over the past few years that it's really not about, oh, if I'm a doctor, I have a lot of money. And I understand that in, for example, developing countries, then it's important. Like, you cannot just say, oh, mom, I'm going to be an artist, when you will have no income. And it also depends if you have the privilege. But if we have the privilege, we should be taught, like, okay, I want to be a carpenter. And I will be a carpenter because then I will do a great job. I will find opportunities because I want to do it. And people will like my job because I do it because I like.
because you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
I think I agree completely. Like it needs to, more importance. Education should be like more important, or give more importance to the people that are passionate
Yeah.
than just like, obviously like the best ones are really good, but
Mm.
also like passion. I think it's so important nowadays.
And I think that's something you cannot learn. You have to
Mm.
find it.
Yeah.
Also, like, to be motivated. I cannot motivate you if you're not motivated. But I can show you the things that maybe you will like and enjoy to do. I just feel like I don't want to generalize, but yeah, if I say like overall and generalize now for a second, the educational system, it's a bit sad that I feel like since the Industrial Revolution, not much changed. But as a society, we are not in the Industrial Revolution anymore. And especially now, also, there is so much progress with technologies and everything. We should use that and maybe change a bit something and not work as the old ways.
The old ways, yeah. And also, something I was thinking,
Mm.
maybe we can just this thing we can just do it in another like podcast or something. But it is like
Yes.
a really interesting thing about what do you think? Like, do you think there's gonna be another industrial revolution when robots take over jobs? I was
I
thinking about that, and I was like, oh damn! Like maybe it's gonna be another industrial revolution coming on when robots because it's gonna be cheaper, and people will be and the businesses will have access to robots, and then people won't get so many jobs.
Yes.
That'll be a problem.
I
Also.
don't know if that will happen because on one hand I feel like we are already going there with all the technologies and the development we made. On the other hand, I know we are not using all the technologies that we have, and especially not in the direction that maybe we should have, which is to fight climate change and all kind of different injustices. Like, I don't know, reusable energy and making electricity from different things than coal and or radioactivity. Like, we have the technologies to
Yeah.
make safe and free energy, but we don't use it and we don't talk about it. Why? Because then, of course, the businesses will run out of business. But yeah, I just really hope that I feel like people are already waking up, but I really hope that we will continue on this path and continue fighting for our rights and for, I would say, better future.
Because the world is ending.
Yes.
And there's no time left. And also, like, I don't know if you guys like think like if you're listening this at home or whatever you're listening, like, think about this. Like, the world is gonna end, and thinking so much about like the future, like, oh, what I'm gonna do with my life and this stuff. Should it really matter, or it matters to just save the planet?
Yeah. Also, like, first of all, that's why I don't know. For me, what I always tell to myself is like, oh, would I be happy if I die now? Probably yes, I would feel content. I'm very happy with my life and what I'm doing. That's like one thing for the person, like a personal. But then if you look at kind of outside yourself and on the global, we have to express what we need, because we all know how. Maybe we don't know, but that's the also point to educate ourselves. But we should express also what we want as a society in order for, I would say, the leaders to listen.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, I think there's something going on, like people are waking up.
Yeah.
And
so
but there's a difference also about, and also like I got so confused with this, and I get confused, and sometimes I get some trouble because I know it's hard. Once you wake up, now what's the next step? You might imagine to act, and that's the most difficult step.
But that's why we should share like these initiatives. For example, you mentioned this María Galindo, and she is doing something. So if you don't know what to do, go to people like her, join them, ask them, find what to do. Because also, there is no point in saying we have to change climate change or we have to stop climate change. Yeah, we all know that, but how?
Exactly.
And that's what we should talk about.
Join them. Like, there's for the people who know who's there's gonna be, I don't know when the podcast is gonna be released
soon. Yes.
Yeah, but like there's, I think in a few days there's gonna be like this event where you can clean some parts of O's that are like with a lot of trash and stuff. So I'm gonna be there, and I invite you there if you're gonna be there. So to just take care of the environment and just show some example, because also what's needed is to show example.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people use this, that movement, like, oh, I'm gonna share about climate change and stuff, but I wanna be the protagonist of this. Yes. Or I don't wanna join a movement. I just wanna create my own movement. Yeah. That's selfishness, guys.
I think also it's important to acknowledge your actions and realize that even if you just pick up a trash around your house, it's already a political action. Yeah. You don't have to do big things to create a change, but you have to start somewhere.
And talk about it.
That's also
true. Yeah. And share.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, I think, do you have something else to share?
Nothing else to
Maybe.
say? Yeah. I think this podcast is gonna be 1 hour more long. No, but what I really wanna say is like about Bolivia. Going back to Bolivia now again. Like I don't want you guys to imagine that Bolivia is the worst place in the world. It is an amazing country. I'm really proud of my roots. We have a lot of culture going on. We have different cultures in one, and it's just amazing. Whenever I just go to my home city, La Paz, I feel like, oh, like so blessed to be from there. I feel so grateful to be from a cultural place, and the people are nice. And yeah, there's a lot of injustice going on, but remember, that's not the fault of people. That's the fault of the government that manages. Because people, yeah, they could have the power, but also people like they don't act because they're already tired of they know the government's gonna again and again and again, whichever government comes, is gonna be the same.
Mm.
But also that's where you need to take action and just even though you're in another part of the world, like we are, or example, far away from our countries, like we also need to try to just call for action and just talk about it, talk about it, and try to do the best we can do, and sharing the message and spreading it around the world because we're one human being, human race. Yes,
Be examples.
exactly.
Well, for me, it's from me, it's all for today. And
Okay.
thank you again for coming
No,
and
thank
sharing your experience and message.
Thank you. I feel so grateful again to for you to give me this opportunity and open me the doors of your podcast.
Thank you.
Keep it with the podcast, and guys, share the podcast to other people. You know, it's an amazing podcast. I recommend it, and it's something I was telling Martina is like it's something that's really needed to talk about these issues, to talk about realness and live in fakeness. Talk about realness. Let's be real. So thank you, and hope to see you in another podcast, in the other episode of the podcast. And yeah, I'm really happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's be real. Let's be human. And that's all. I will put all the links in the description so you can find all the movements and also Gabo. And stay tuned for the next episode. Bye.
Bye.